Hey everyone, so if you've ever, even for a second, thought about learning to code, this is exactly where you want to be. Today, we're taking that very first step into the huge world of programming, and we're doing it with one of the most popular languages on the entire planet, Python. Okay, so let's just start with a really basic question. You and I, we're talking right now using English, right? You might talk to your family or friends in totally different languages. But how in the world do you talk to a computer? How do you tell it what to do? Well, the answer is we use programming languages. Just think of them as a special kind of bridge, a bridge that connects our human ideas to what a computer can actually understand and do. Now, there are a ton of them out there. You might have heard of C++ or Java, but the one we're going to focus on is pretty much perfect for beginners, and that's Python. And look, we're not just learning this for fun, although it is fun. We're going to frame this whole thing as a quest. It's the 100-day code challenge, and it's designed to take you from knowing absolutely nothing to being job ready, one small, manageable step at a time. It's a real path to a really powerful new skill. 100. That's the magic number. 100 dedicated days. And yeah, it's a commitment for sure, but it's also a promise to yourself. If you put in the time, you will absolutely transform your skills. So think of it as your own personal coding adventure. So to really get to know Python, I think it helps to go back to the very beginning. You know, every great tool has an origin story, and Python's is actually pretty cool. It kind of helps you remember that there was a real person, not just some machine, behind all this code. And that person's name is Guido van Rossum. All the way back in 1989, he started tinkering with a new language. A couple years later, in 91, he released it to the world. And as you can see from then until now, it's just exploded into the global powerhouse it is today. The big thing to realize here is that this language has been growing and getting better for over 30 years. So why call it Python? You'd think it has something to do with snakes, right? Well, nope. It has nothing to do with them. Turns out, Guido was just a really big fan of the British comedy show Monty Python's Flying Circus. He wanted a name that was short, unique, and, a little bit mysterious. And just like that, Python was born. Okay, so let's get into what really makes Python so special. I mean, it's loved by people who have never written a line of code in their life, and it's also used by experts at huge companies. So what's the deal? Well, it's because it has a few simple, but honestly incredibly powerful superpowers. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because all these features work together perfectly for someone who's just starting out. First off, it is simple and easy. I mean, the code almost reads like plain English. It's also free and open source, which means it costs you nothing to get started. Then there's portability. You can write your code one time, and it'll run on a Mac, on a Windows PC, anywhere. But honestly, these last two are the real game changers. Huge libraries. That means there's tons of pre-written code out there for you to use. You're basically standing on the shoulders of giants. This is exactly why it's so big in fields like AI. And finally, the vast community. If you ever get stuck, and you will, chances are someone on a site like Stack Overflow has already asked and answered your exact question. It just makes the whole journey so much smoother. So that's the why it's so great. But what about the what? I mean, what do people actually do with it? Those superpowers mean Python is used to build some amazing things out there in the real world. Let's take a look at where you'll actually find it. And this chart just shows you how versatile this thing is. I mean, look at it. It's used for building the web applications you use every single day, all the way to pioneering the future in data science and machine learning. You see that huge chunk for data and ML? That's all because of those massive libraries we were just talking about. Python isn't just one thing. It's a true multi-purpose tool. All right, that is enough theory. The best way to learn anything is by actually doing it. So right now, I'm going to show you how you can write and run your very first program, and you can do it in the next minute without installing a single thing on your computer. Okay, so the old school way of doing this involved installing Python, configuring all this complicated stuff called path variables. It can be a real headache. But there's a much, much easier way. A tool you can use right in your web browser called Replit. It needs zero setup, it runs super fast on their servers, not yours, and you can share your code with just a link. For a beginner, it's a no-brainer. It's the perfect way to start. And that tool, Replit, actually gets its name from a really important concept in programming called a REPL. It just stands for read, evaluate, print, loop. Basically, it's like having a direct conversation with Python. You type a command, it reads it figures it out, it prints the result, and then it just waits for your next command. It's interactive. And seriously, that's it. It's just 3 simple steps. You go to the website, you type this one little line of code, which is the classic "Hello World" that pretty much every single programmer starts with, and you hit the run button. And boom, just like that, you've written your first program. So what's actually happening when you do that? Well, when you click run, your code gets sent over the internet to Replic's powerful servers. They do all the heavy lifting, run the code, and then send the output right back to your screen. It means that even if you have an old, slow computer, you can code without any issues. It just removes all the technical roadblocks so you can focus on one thing: learning. So there you have it. We've covered the what, the why, and the how. We've seen that Python is this powerful, super beginner-friendly language, and you now know exactly how to write your first line of code in literally the next minute. So the only question left is, will you? A lot of the inspiration for this 100-day journey comes from a creator named Code with Harry, who puts this challenge out there, and there's a good reason for it. The whole idea is that when you make a public commitment, when you say it out loud or write it down where people can see it, it's a really powerful motivator. It turns a fuzzy idea into a real goal. So that really is the final question. This isn't just about watching a presentation. It's about taking action. You know, they say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Well, your 100-day coding quest can begin with a single line. So, will you write it today?